to push for the final 10 laps of this race. On with the yellow walled mediums. All 3 tire compounds have been slapped onto the car, and now it is time to chase down. But we are going to come out in P9 behind Carlos Sainz. There's 8 drivers standing between us and a win. Hello guys, turbocharged 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. It's been a hot minute, more like a hot few months. Point being, welcome back to Turbo Fox Races and welcome back to F1 23 career mode. Now guys, let's just set the stage quick. I'm gonna apologize like I always do when I take a long break. My life has changed a substantial amount. And I apologize that you guys have been waiting so long. There's so much that has changed. It's honestly, for me, the speed, the tempo at which it happened is still breaking my brain. But a lot of things changed, and I am now here to stay again. I finally found a method to work my content into my routine, and we are here to stay. Now, second thing, while you guys are checking out what's going on your screen and you Aikido your way through the video, yes. Guys, we're going to finish this one and only season on F1 23, by the way. Like what always happens in my career modes where Fernando Alonso is in the career mode, he frickin' retires in the first season. Luckily now I've had him as a teammate. But reason being why this season is only going to be the only season, and I know I said at the beginning of this game cycle I want to do a minimum of 4 to 5 seasons. I realize that. The reason this is going to be the only season is because F1 24 is around the corner, and I want to hop into F1 24 as quickly as possible, and I've got more than just a career mode planned. But the reason we're going to focus on F1 24 is finally, oh dear goodness, finally, probably for the first time in like 3 to 5 years, I don't know the exact amount, by the way, you guys can figure out the performance chart as it shows. Obviously, I know I always explain this bit, but we'll get into the nitty-gritty when we hit qualifying. So, the entire career mode is getting a massive revamp, and it's the way I like to play career mode. As my own driver, driving for a team and not creating my own team, hence my team. It's going to be big, it's going to be huge, and I'm going to be at the forefront of it. I'm coming for you, Arava and Tiamat Marduk. I'm on the way. I'll see you soon. But let's get into this banger of a video. So, we are at the GETTR Grand Prix. No, we are at the Losail International Circuit for the GETTR Grand Prix. And it's a sprint weekend. We top Q1 with Alonso coming in P10. And guys, actually throughout this weekend, obviously with it being a sprint weekend, there's minimal practice. But McLaren were looking good. They were cooking. They were in the kitchen. They were busy cooking. And as you guys are going to see as qualifying continues, McLaren are there. But as always in Q3, Red Bull, Mercedes and Ferrari show up. So you guys are in for an interesting video. Well, we come across the line for our first lap in Q2. We made it through to the top 15, as you guys saw. Obviously, we do a 1 minute 20.9 on a scrubbed set as tires, as we always do. The routine is still the exact same. And heading in towards the end of Q2 for our final lap, you guys can see I chose a really nice spot on track where I had clean track in front and behind me, so I had nothing to worry about. We head through the final corner. It's basically a second improvement. Purple middle sector. We were sat in P7, and as we barrel towards the line and our battery is basically depleted, across the line, it's pole position. Again, well, provisional pole, almost half a second quicker than Verstappen and Carlos Sainz. Alonso makes it through to Q3 with us, but by the skin of his teeth. Out is Piastri, Gasly, Ocon, Hulkenberg, and Magnussen. And when I read Piastri's name, I was honestly shocked, because like I said, McLaren were cooking something heading into this weekend, but clearly the recipe did not work out. Because one McLaren is out, we only have one to worry about, and by some miracle, Bottas in the Alfa Romeo Sauber made it into Q3. Hats off to the modern flying Finn. He will never be Raikkonen, but he's still a Finn, and he's still damn quick on his day. So now you guys can see we're heading into our final lap in Q3. You guys see I'm not going to play around with quali anymore. We're going to get it over and done with as quickly as possible. So heading through this next part, you guys can see that I'm already half a second up. We go purple first sector, and we are the last car on track. The cars behind us have already finished their laps. You guys can see Charles Leclerc is on a provisional pole position for the Scuderia, and we have got a job to do. Heading into this second, well, in the mid part of Sector 2, into this hairpin. This is one of my favorite corners on this track. If you nailed that corner, oh my great googly moogly, does it feel fantastic. But going down this next section of track, which is nothing but flat out all the way, you just need the cojones to keep your foot flat through this section. And once again, thank you League Racing for making me so much better, because clearly as this game cycle has gone on, I've just been getting faster and faster and faster. By the end of the lap, it's a 1.6 second improvement. It's utter insanity. Purple middle sector has been given, and as we head towards the line, we are in P. And it's, of course, P1. Let's go. Alonso is in P8, but your top 5 is literally a scatterboard of Ferrari and Mercedes, and then I'm the little joker card on pole position. It's myself for Aston, Leclerc for Ferrari, Hamilton for Mercedes, Sainz for Ferrari, and then Russell for Mercedes in P5. That is your qualification for the sprint race. And then you have Perez, Norris, Alonso. I do not know what Verstappen was doing. He clearly had a very bad Q3, and obviously everybody knew Bottas was going to get into P10. But Verstappen P9, this opens up the door for Leclerc in the championship, because remember, we are pretty far ahead. The championship is technically sealed, even though it's not official yet. It's technically sealed, and it's a battle for P2 now. It's a battle between who's going to be the first of the losers, but still, a battle is still a battle. And you guys know how rowdy F1AI can get, so let's see what happens.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. O'Connor lines up on pole position. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Sainz, Russell, Perez, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Verstappen, Bottas, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Albon, Joe, Tsunoda, De Vries, and Logan Sargent. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Soon finding out is the plan of action. So guys, for the sprint race, you guys are going to see I'm going for an alternative strategy. For those of you guys that don't know, tire wear around GETTR is chronic. So I decided I'm going to go a bit bold and stick on the hards. Because in the main race, I'm in any case going to go. I'm planning a 2-stop on 2 sets of mediums, and then softs. So you guys can see I'm still, thinking about the mediums and the hards, but I'm almost certain that I went for the hards. Like, I'm almost certain. If I did decide on the mediums, you guys can realize how long this video was recorded and edited, and how long it's been sitting, and I just haven't had time to record commentary. Point being, and clearly we're going on to the mediums. Oops.
Here we go then. The formation lap is underway ahead of today's sprint. almost ready to start the sprint as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
So, it is time for this sprint, my guys and gals. My G's and Queens, my Turbonatics. And as you guys can see, this checkerboard of Ferrari and Mercedes is pretty darn daunting. But we've stuck with the grippier tyre with the mediums. That's the tyre that will last the longest. The soft tyre runners are going to be blisteringly quick in the first few laps, and then the mediums will come into action. But by the end of the race, we're all going to be slipping and sliding like it's a damn ice rink. But with that being said, it is time for the 5 red lights of the sprint race, and it's go, go, go for the GETTR sprint. Charles Leclerc right beside me with Hamilton, Sainz, and Russell following close behind. Perez gets an amazing start of the line, as well as the defending champion Max Verstappen, who will soon no longer be champion. Sainz gets past on Hamilton as the two Mercedes run side by side, heading into turn 2. Through turn 2 and into turn 3, it's still side by side for the two black arrows. Hamilton, Russell, you can define them by the difference between the blue and the lime helmet. Here we go into this next corner. Hamilton's on the inside, but Russell is fighting his teammate very hard. And every corner, these guys are side by side. Myself and the two Ferraris will break away. But obviously, you guys can see both the Mercs are on the softs, and they're battling for supremacy here. But currently, Russell has that supremacy as he gets ahead of his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton goes from P3 all the way down to P5, with the two Red Bulls following close behind. So it's literally myself, 2 Ferraris, 2 Mercedes, 2 Red Bulls, and then Alonso just completes the whole sandwich, as I am the top part of the bun and he's the bottom part of the bun. And we've just got all the other crazy fast teams in between. Norris had a horrible start. He's down to P12, and Piastri is down to P14. So McLaren, who looked so pacey at the start of this weekend, have just fallen all the way down, has fallen down the array. But I'm sure they're going to be making their way through the grid and getting very close to Alonso as this race progresses. Here we go. You guys can see Leclerc right behind me. It's half a second between myself and the Monegasque, heading down the main straight for the first of 10 laps. Here we go. Leclerc sticks in my slipstream, and the slipstream and DRS here at GETTR is extremely strong, even though DRS has not yet activated. Slipstreaming by itself is still extremely powerful if you have the better corner exit out of the final corner. There's a little bit of ghosting between Alonso and Perez, but Alonso actually gets ahead of the Red Bull driver and now chases after the world champion Max Verstappen. But the guys with the upgrades we fitted to this Aston Martin throughout the season, this track, out of all the tracks this season so far, this track, the Aston, came alive like you guys wouldn't believe. By the end of lap 2, heading into lap 3, we've almost broken a second to Charles Leclerc, but he is still closely followed behind by Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Verstappen, Alonso, and Perez. Here you guys can see there's obviously battling going on in the midfield. I told you guys the McLarens were going to come through the pack. Piastri gets ahead of Hülkenberg as Norris is already up into P10 ahead of Bottas. And remember, guys, only the top 8 in the sprint get the points. So we need to, the guys coming from the back really need to fight. And if Norris and Piastri wants points, they've got Perez and Alonso standing in their way currently. But here we go, George Russell on the main straight, on the softs against the medium-tired Ferrari. Russell heading into turn 1 is going to have the inside line on the Spaniard. Here we go, Russell sticks it to the inside, but Sainz actually defends brilliantly, with Russell having a better exit out of turn 1 through turn 2. Russell on the outside will have the inside for the turn 3 kink. Heading into the turn 4 and 5, it's basically a double right-hander that kind of works like a hairpin in these fast F1 cars. Russell on the inside, but Sainz is just hanging that Ferrari around the outside, as I'm sure the very, very smooth operator knows those softs are on the verge of going down the drain, and the mediums will be the preferred tyre, I think, from lap 6 onward. Here we go, Lando Norris on the Alpine of Esteban Ocon, if I'm not mistaken. It's actually Pierre Gasly, it's the number 10 car, and Norris gets ahead of Gasly as he now finally chases after Alonso and Sergio Perez. Piastri and his teammate not far behind, battling with Valtteri Bottas. Look at the overpoweredness of DRS and slipstream and overtake, guys. Like, literally, Piastri just sailed past Bottas, and that's an easy move up into, that's P11 now. Yes, that's P11. So Piastri has almost banked himself a top 10 start for this race, as Norris is already into P9. But these the top 4 teams, guys, are really, you guys can see we're nose to tail. I've broken 1.88 seconds on Leclerc, and Leclerc's breaking a second towards Russell and Sainz, who keep battling, and Russell now gets ahead of the Spaniard. Russell is really making these soft tires work, but his teammate Lewis Hamilton seems to be struggling a lot more than him on these soft tires. But here's the turnover point, guys. Lap 6 onto lap 7, and here is where the medium tires are going to be the preferred tire, as those softs are going to start overheating, they're going to start slipping more, and the medium tires just have that little bit more longevity within them. But here we go. So it's again a Ferrari 2-3, Mercedes 4-5 with Verstappen, Alonso, and Perez following suit. You guys can see I've broken away from Leclerc, and Leclerc's broken away from Sainz. But can Sainz actually break away from George Russell and Lewis Hamilton? As here comes the defending world champion Max Verstappen. But it forces Lewis Hamilton to go to the outside, and he decides to lunge it on our teammate and run the outside. The 7-time world champion goes on his teammate. He's up into P4, and now maybe he will have a crack at Carlos Sainz to see if he can get closer to actually making a move on that Ferrari. But again, softs versus mediums, as both Merckx and Verstappen are on the softs, and Sainz is on the mediums, and he will have the more dominant pace at this stage. Here we go. You guys can see Verstappen is still right up behind George Russell, and this sprint race has flown by as we are already on the final lap. But the battle for P3 is still very, very hard on the go here. We jump back to ourselves as the leader. As soon as we broke away from Leclerc, there was really not much to do besides just keeping pace, keeping the car on the black stuff, and making sure that we keep extending the gap and not overdriving the car, saving the battery, doing all those beautiful, wonderful things. Through this final fast section, obviously with the tires being worn, it is a bit slow, and you guys can see medium tires, 10 laps. My left front is on 60%. That is the amount of tire wear around GETTR. With that being said, we've got a very, very strategic and hard main race waiting for us as we take the win in the sprint.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a really strong drive and a great finish. Well done.
So it's maximum points for the sprint race, guys. There's no points for fastest lap, even though we did achieve the fastest lap. But that is for the main race. But there is your grid set all the way to 14th place for the main race. And guys, like I said, things are going to get pretty darn juicy. A bad strategy around GETTR can completely cost you the race. And again, like the most of this season, I am throwing myself in the deep end. For those of you guys that haven't seen it yet, whether you watch this, my live streams, or even Gran Turismo content, I am a very tough guy on tires. So we're going to go for a 2-stop. And another thing to add here is Lewis Hamilton was disqualified at the end of the sprint. It says DNF, but when I was in game, it said disqualification. So I do not know what happened, but Lewis is going to come from the back now. Lewis is starting P20. So I know certain people are going to be very happy about that. Other people are going to be very, very miffed at that. But it is what it is. Let's head to the Sunday Grand Prix.
We're under the lights once again here in Qatar. Last year we took a year off due to a small footballing tournament that was being hosted, but it's all excitement on the track now. We're back here in Losail for a track that's 3.34 miles long. There are 16 turns around its unique three-prong shape and just a single DRS zone out of turn 16. It's fast and it's flowing, and there's a good overtaking opportunity with DRS down the long straight and into turn 1. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. O'Connor lines up on pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Perez, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Hülkenberg, Albon, Ocon, Sainz, Magnussen, Bottas, Joe, Tsunoda, De Vries, Hamilton, and Logan Sargent. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's talk about O'Connor. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
Pole position once again. Here you guys can see it is time for the very aggressive two-stop strategy. And you guys know how a two-stop strat works. It's quali laps, lap after lap after lap until the race sees the checkered flag. We have got the best possible position to work from. We're on pole, and you guys can see that I'm going to start on the hard tires, go to the softs, and end the race on the mediums. Because I used my other remaining medium set in the sprint, we've only got one set of mediums for the race. So we're going to use all three compounds. So you guys are actually going to be able to see properly the difference in performance with these tires. But heading into this race, you guys are going to see there's a lot of soft tire starters, a few medium tire starters, and I will be the only little one starting on the hards and probably pitting earlier than some of the medium drivers. It's going to be interesting, it's going to be crazy, but strategy and pace here are going to be king. Will we have the pace and will we have the strategy? Let's find out.
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out. We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
The big question for this strategy to work is, will we be able to actually withstand the pressure that we're going to have in the first 6 to 10 laps? Because these hards, okay, not 6 to 10, 6 to 8 laps. Because everybody is going to be on grippier tires until that point hits. Lap 6 for the softs, about lap 8 to 9 for the mediums. Can we withstand the pressure and defend this lead and then start breaking away? Let's find out, because I think I'm still going to be able to undercut the medium runners, but not the soft runners. It's going to be interesting. We head to 5 red lights, and it's go, go, go for the GETTR Grand Prix. Beautiful start off the line from myself. Leclerc, Sainz, Sainz had a penalty, guys. Sainz is going to come from behind, but Russell has a beautiful run into turn 1. It's Mercedes, Aston Martin, Ferrari, and Red Bull battling for the lead here, but Russell currently is the one challenging me on his soft tires. Russell, Verstappen, and Leclerc are on soft tires, but currently Russell takes the lead away from us at the start of this GETTR Grand Prix. Leclerc has a lunge up the inside, but compromises his line and lets Verstappen through. So your top 4 is Russell, myself, Verstappen, and Leclerc. Here we go. Into this next spot. It's actually not Verstappen, guys. Apologies. It was actually Perez, as Verstappen is the Red Bull with that started a bit backwards. Piastri is up into P6. Norris is down to P9. Actually, that's where he started. But where did Piastri come from to get up into P6? Gasly is P8 with Hulkenberg rounding out the top 10. As you guys see, everything is very close. Hamilton is already up into P17 as Sainz is sitting in P13. Very pretty, smooth operator. Here we go. You guys can see I'm actually like blasting my battery right now to stick with Russell, because if I can stick within DRS and stay within 1 second of that Merc, it's gonna open up a lot of doors for our strategy as the race progresses. But we can't lose sight of that Mercedes, otherwise it's going to be a much harder race. But you guys can see I get a brilliant exit out of the final corner, dump a bit of battery, and just keep in the slipstream. But the Mercedes is just a little bit too slippy in a straight line. And heading into turn 1, it is now our time to shine around the outside. But will we have the grip to go around the outside of George Russell? Yes, we will. And that is us back into the lead. But guys, I knew this wasn't going to be permanent, because all those cars coming from behind are on quicker tires, and my teammate Alonso on the mediums is in P5. He's also going to be a threat. Everything is still unknown about this race, with the strategy being such a blown wide open case, if I can put it that way. But we take back the lead from Russell. So currently it's myself, Russell, Perez, Leclerc, and Alonso in your top 5. But Russell is not going to let this go. You guys know, with those softer tires, he's going to do everything he possibly can to stick with this British Racing Green Aston Martin. Number 51 versus number 63. Let's get it. Heading into sector 3 of this lap. And it's only lap 2 of 29. There's still a long way to go. And the battling, it just gets more fierce. Leclerc is only a quarter of a second behind the Red Bull of Sergio Perez, and he's very much trying to get his Ferrari back ahead of the Red Bull. As there's a little cut in the recording there, guys. So apologies there. Once again, that recording glitch that's on the PlayStation that I can do nothing about. Here we go. It is now the start of lap 3. So by the next lap we get to this part of the track, DRS will be enabled. But look at the straight line speed of Sergio Perez as he blasts past myself and George Russell and takes the lead of the GETTR Grand Prix. We managed to defend from Russell, but still lose the position thanks to Perez's incredible racing class, racing etiquette. I don't know how to phrase that. I'm a little bit silly. I'm also tired. Don't judge me. But you guys can see I'm already trying to attack the Red Bull here, as I know these softs are already not going to feel well. We actually get back ahead of the Red Bull. And guys, what I was trying to do at this stage was trying to get the soft tire runners to maybe overheat their tires, because as soon as you overheat them and the percentages of the wear just keeps going up, those tires become much more useless a lot quicker. So that's what I was trying to do, and I was also trying to get Alonso into this battle, which I have managed to do now, but he's bringing Piastri, Verstappen, Norris, Gasly and Hulkenberg with him. So the top 10 are all separated by less than a second from one another. This race is going to be intense. High downforce, high speed, very quick track. It's a lot like Silverstone. If you have a little blink if you have a little moment where you're not concentrating and you blink too much, you are sending yourself to Narnia. Here we go, round the final corner again, and there has been, besides that little recording glitch, there has not been a single cut in this piece of footage, because that is how good the racing is. Here comes the flying Mexican as Sergio Perez takes back the lead of the GETTR Grand Prix. We at least have enough in the bank to defend from George Russell, but Leclerc and Alonso are still looming as we are right behind Sergio Perez. And again, heading through this part of the track, we just have the better exit. We go alongside Sergio Perez into T4 and T5, up the inside, climb the curb and get this Aston Martin back ahead of the Red Bull. And this is exactly what we need, guys. Keep the lead, or if someone overtakes us, stick with them, because by this point already, those softs will not be feeling all nice and dandy. It's lap 4. My fresh hards when we started are already heading into the 20% bracket, and that is with tire upgrades fitted to this Aston Martin. Tire wear around GETTR, like I said at the beginning, well, early in the video, is chronic. You cannot underestimate the tire wear and, to a degree, the fuel usage around this track, because the cars drink fuel like there's no tomorrow. You guys can see, here we go, on board with ourselves through this final piece of track, which is just absolutely fantastic to drive. It feels so good when you hook a lap up around this track. Very quickly becoming one of my favorite tracks is the Losail International Circuit. I know it was built for MotoGP bikes, but F1 cars really... This track gives F1 cars the potential to show what they are really made of. And again, here comes Sergio Perez blasting past me with DRS, slipstreaming and overtake engaged. There's nothing I can do. There's no point in blasting my battery and just wasting energy. I let Perez go, because I know if I can stay with him, I will be able to get the position back. 4/10 is all there is in it, and that is not the end of the world. I know on the replay it said 2/10, but not completely true. But still, we are right behind Sergio Perez, and you guys can see he's already starting to suffer from a bit of understeer and a tiny snap here and there, and it's only lap 5. Those softs are already feeling secondhand. And with Russell and Leclerc sitting in so much dirty air behind us, I cannot imagine that those tires are feeling much better. Alonso and myself right now are the two drivers with the best strategy currently as the grid sits. Myself and Alonso are on the harder tires, and we are keeping up with the quick boy McGee's. It's almost a second to Russell, as him and Leclerc are constantly in this little tussle. They're not side by side, but Leclerc's distracting Russell enough to allow me and Perez to break away. 7.5/10. It's so close to a second. But if you don't, as we run a bit wide going through the penultimate corner, but if you don't break a second in the middle part of the lap, if someone has DRS on you on the main straight, they close half a second. It's just that easy. But we stuck with Sergio Perez as we start lap 6. Here comes Charles Leclerc on George Russell as well. Alonso seems to be getting into this battle as well. But for the lead, we go for a massive dive up the inside of Sergio Perez. We run a bit deep as Perez takes back the lead. But we are able to keep it side by side for turn 2. And we squeeze the Red Bull just a little bit onto the curb. And that gives us back the lead. But Perez is fighting. We go to defend the inside. We keep our line. Perez tries around the outside. But the soft tires just don't have the bites in them anymore. And here is where the crossover point has started. We jump quickly here on a rear view replay of George Russell as Leclerc just has so much speed for sitting so close to the Mercedes. There's me and Perez battling at the bottom of your screen, but into the first corner, Leclerc just takes nothing here. He leaves nothing on the table, and he's around the outside to the inside, and that is Leclerc back up onto the podium. We look here at Carlos Sainz as we now head towards the end of lap 6, and Sainz is right behind the Haas of Nico Hülkenberg, looking to displace the Haas out of the points. Sainz pulls to the outside, heading into turn 1, well, on the way to turn 1, and he's going to go clean around the outside before they even hit the braking zone, and that is Sainz back in the points, chasing down the Alpine of Pierre Gasly after that move is made. Here we go, Sainz on board, and already, guys, it's only lap 11, he's already closed up and smelling the Castrol gearbox oil from this Alpine. And Sainz is adamant. He's going to go for a move heading into the flat out section. I don't think this is very smart from Carlos Sainz because he's going to give Gasly the DRS on the main straight. Gasly will not lose that much time in the final 3 corners. Sainz gets the move done and is up into P9. But you can never count out Pierre Gasly. As you guys saw that there was cars pitting. It is actually Leclerc into the pit lane as Perez and all the other drivers are staying out. Leclerc is the first driver to decide, I'm tired of these soft tires. They do not work. They are not working for me. And is Leclerc on a 1 or a 2-stop strategy? If it's not hards, it's a 2-stop for the Ferrari. And he actually goes on to hards. But to take those tires, what's that? 18 laps? Not going to happen. It's not going to happen, in my honest opinion, even with the insanely overpowered AI sometimes when it comes to tire wear. It's not happening. As you guys saw there, exactly what I said was happened. Gasly got back ahead of Sainz. As the end of lap 12, Sergio Perez is the next driver to bite the bullet and come in to the pit lane. Is it hard? Is it mediums? Those tires look yellow to me. That is a set of medium tires for Sergio Perez. So Perez is most definitely on a 2-stop. Sainz is in as well. He is off of his softs onto... Oh, Sainz gets held up. Sainz gets held up badly there. And again loses out to Pierre Gasly, who he managed to overtake on that previous lap. Again, Sainz is not having fun. So Sainz has got a lot of work to do for the rest of this race. We now jump on board with Lando Norris as he's watching his teammate actually going for a move here on the Mercedes of George Russell. And Russell is still on those softs. He's lost out to Alonso and has now lost out to Oscar Piastri on the mediums. Russell desperately needs to come into the pit lane. You guys can see at the end of lap 13, I decided these guys are going to undercut me. Let's bite the bullet. We're in any case on an aggressive 2-stop. Let's get these hards off. Let's get those softs on the car. Do a very quick and a short and powerful middle stint and get it on those mediums so that I can force myself into an undercut position on the final stint. But you guys can see into the lane, off with the hards, onto the softs, and now it is time to boogie. It is time to boogie like they did in the 60s and the 70s. Let's risk it for the chocolate biscuit, throw the kitchen sink at it, and let's push. You guys can see we actually gifted Alonso the lead, and he is now on lap 14. What did I say? I'm going to pit before the medium runners. Coming into the lane, being followed by Verstappen and the McLaren of Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri actually stays out. So it's clear who McLaren are prioritizing. But if you really are friendly on your tires, a 1-stop will work from lap 14, even with this insane tire wear. But you will be the definition of Formula Drift by the end of the Grand Prix, as those tires will have next to nothing grip left in them. We are back up into P2, 12.2 seconds behind Oscar Piastri. Luckily, Leclerc and Perez did not manage to undercut us, but Leclerc was able to undercut Sergio Perez. The gap between myself and Leclerc, 3.5 seconds. The gap between Leclerc and Perez, 1.7 seconds. So you guys can see Piastri into the pit lane. He's finally decided he's done. on those mediums. Will he stay ahead of his teammate though? But we take back the lead of the GETTR Grand Prix, followed by Leclerc, then Perez. Russell is actually into P4, so he managed to get past Alonso in the pit stop phases. I don't know how he did that, but he managed. He managed. Hats off to the Mercedes crew and to George Russell for his driving. So it's Russell P4, my wonderful teammate Alonso P5 on his fresh hard tires, chasing down these leaders. Verstappen P6, Gasly is in P7. Where did Pierre come from? Or is he still on that original set of mediums? Is Gasly just going for broke here? As Norris is trying to get past Carlos Sainz, Piastri has fallen down all the way to P10, and McLaren have really screwed Piastri. He had an incredible start. They should have prioritized his car over Norris's car, but that's what you get when you have a favorite within the team, I guess. But here we go. Norris right behind Sainz, as Sainz is still trying to actually get past Pierre Gasly, who is being an absolute menace in this race for the two McLarens and Carlos Sainz. But Lando Norris with fresh tires at overspeed, 3 wide heading into turn 1. Gasly defending from Norris went to the inside and it opened the door for Sainz around the outside. That was an insane 3 wide moment between the McLaren, Ferrari and Alpine. Sainz manages to get... Oh, it's not yet done yet. It's not done yet. Here comes Gasly back again. Will Sainz have the grip around the outside? Gasly tries to force him off track, but Sainz decides he's an immovable object and gets ahead of the Alpine. But it has cost him 1 second to Lando Norris, meaning he has lost DRS, and that is exactly what Lando Norris would have wanted. And now Oscar Piastri slots in between Gasly and Sainz on the main straight as he now targets Carlos Sainz for the next lap. We jump onto lap 17, looking at the battle between Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc, as Perez has managed to close the gap to Charles Leclerc, and it is a Red Bull versus Ferrari battle here for P2, and you can never throw away George Russell and that Mercedes. Maybe they're doing a bit of tire saving to see if they can be a factor at the end of this Grand Prix. Perez again, who I fully believe is on a 2-stop here, gets ahead of Charles Leclerc. More grip, you're going to catch the guy ahead. Even though the hards are fairly grippy, compared to the medium and the softs, they have a lot of slip in them. You have to be very, very careful when you use those hard compound tires. But here we go. Oscar Piastri, actually he was overtaken by Gasly at some stage again, and then now again gets ahead of Gasly and tries to do something about Carlos Sainz here. I think end of lap 18 onto lap 19, finally it's going to be Piastri's time to shine as he just flies past the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. And again, Sainz is having a horrible race where he actually had a very, very strong sprint. It is not working out. But we have yellow flags flashing on the screens, and it is for the Frenchman who has been such a thorn in the side of Sainz and the two McLarens. Pierre Gasly, fighting for some good points here, has got some sort of issue with his car. He pulls off the track, and Pierre Gasly is out of the GETTR Grand Prix. Will this trigger a safety car, though? I highly doubt it, because the car is in a safe spot. And now Russell has caught up to the back of Charles Leclerc. I wonder if Charles is really like heavily conserving tires, or whether that car has got some sort of problem. Because Perez caught him very quickly. Even though I understand Perez is on quicker tires, Russell is as well. But they shouldn't have been able to catch the Ferrari that quickly. Either way, whatever's going on with that Ferrari clearly is a problem, whether it's strategy or something internally wrong with the car. Leclerc is struggling, and coming from behind is Alonso and Verstappen. This is still going to be a long evening for Leclerc if he can't figure something out, or the team figures something out. On the main straight, Russell is going to make it look like a kiddies game, and he's ahead of the Ferrari heading into turn 1, now trying to chase down the Red Bull of Sergio Perez. And guys, us in the lead with these soft tires, we did our short little stint. Everything went all hunky-dory. We actually opened a very, very good gap on the rest of the drivers, and now with most of these guys attempting a 1-stop, we are going to be on super duper fresh medium tires to push for the final 10 laps of this race. On with the yellow walled mediums. All 3 tire compounds have been slapped onto the car, and now it is time to chase down. But we are going to come out in P9 behind Carlos Sainz. There's 8 drivers standing between us and a win. That is the plan, Mark. But with 8 drivers, it's not that hard to catch someone. It's a whole different story when you're trying to pass. George Russell is having the race of his life, and he's caught up to the back of Sergio Perez. And with a win on offer now, George Russell is going for the move here on the Mexican. Into turn 1, Perez defends the inside, Russell around the outside. But again, with the overspeed of DRS, there's nothing that Sergio Perez can do. And even Charles Leclerc is going to lose out to my teammate. Fernando Alonso gets himself onto the podium and is up into P3. And can Alonso break away from the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc? We're going to have to wait and see. This is ourselves getting past the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. As you guys can see, the two McLarens are battling away, as I think Piastri is a bit miffed at the team and wants to prove to the team and to his teammate that he deserved to be prioritized. He's the quicker driver at this throughout this weekend. Let's see what happens. Piastri chasing down Norris, as we are chasing down both of the papaya orange McLarens. But it's Russell from Perez from Alonso, Leclerc, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, myself, Carlos Sainz, and Kevin Magnussen rounds out your top 10. You guys see through the hairpin, I take a wide line to try and get the best possible exit. Will I go for the dive here on Oscar Piastri? Yes, I will. And we will see if he's going to grab a toe from us to get back close to his teammate. That was a bit of an audacious dive, but Piastri won't even have time to steal DRS because we just dive it up the inside of his teammate Lando Norris. And that is the two McLarens done and dusted so quickly, as we now jump to lap 24, as we are behind the man whose championship we will soon be taking, Max Verstappen. Again, out of the hairpin, we just have the exit of dreams, and up the inside of the next hairpin, there's nothing that Verstappen can do. And now, heading towards the top of 5 cars. It is myself in 5th, Leclerc 4th, Alonso 3rd, Perez 2nd, Russell 1st. But we are still on much fresher mediums. And you guys can see I'm going every single direction that Leclerc goes for. Heading into turn 1, it might be 3 wide, but we back out of it slightly and just got the inside of Leclerc to try and not compromise our teammate Fernando Alonso. Into the next corner, Alonso leaves the door wide open. Great teammate there. Well, great teamwork there from myself and Alonso as we are back up onto the podium, and the moves are happening thick and fast, but the laps are also running out at a very alarming rate. To lap 26 of 29. Here we go. Aston Martin, Red Bull, Mercedes, 2 Mercedes-powered cars, 1 Honda-powered car. Sergio Perez, he just leaves the door wide open heading into the final corner. We will still have DRS thanks to George Russell. Open up the rear flap as Perez is demoted down to P3. And these 3 cars on medium tires, mine just being about 25 to 35% fresher, we are going to battle for the win here. You guys can see Perez is so late onto the brakes heading into turn 1, but he can't carry the speed because those mediums just won't allow him to. We are pushing so hard that the car is trying to snap around on us, but we're not allowing it. And it is now time to take back the lead that we so very much deserve. We qualified on pole, we won the sprint, and we started on pole for this race. Again, a bit wide coming out of that double right-handed corner. Into the hairpin we go. Russell is actually driving very good lines here to make sure that he keeps this Aston Martin behind him. But it is the B team Mercedes challenging the A team Mercedes. And I'm sure Toto Wolff is absolutely breaking discs like Bruce Lee broke wooden boards as he sees the number 51 Aston Martin pass his young, talented driver to take back the lead of the Qatar Grand Prix. Here we go. We break away very quickly from that gaggle. You guys see it's already 7 tenths by the end of lap 27. And Ferrari pull in Charles Leclerc with 2 laps to go. I told you guys, Leclerc's hards will not last till the end of the race. Ferrari tried to push him, tried to push too far, and now they're going to cost themselves so much more points, and Verstappen is going to gain points on Leclerc, not Leclerc score over Verstappen. That is a very bad mistake from Ferrari at this critical part of the season. But guys, just with everything, when you're having fun, time flies, and it is already the end. Well, the final lap of this Grand Prix. Myself, Russell, Perez. I felt a bit bad demoting Alonso off of the podium. But I mean, podium for Alonso or a win for me, I think any team would decide to go for the win. So, and Alonso was a very good teammate. Left the door wide open for me to just slide through and not compromise one of our races. Alonso seems like he's going to finish ahead of Max Verstappen. But Sergio Perez has not given up on this battle with George Russell. He is still fighting so hard to get underneath the rear wing of that Mercedes. Will he have enough in the pocket to drag Race Russell to the line and get the overspeed with DRS to just nip him at the line. We're going to have to wait and see. Here we go. Myself again, it's 2 seconds to George Russell. Just keep the car on the black stuff. Don't get a 3-second track extension penalty. Keep it on the black stuff. And now it is again our time to shine. We backed off a bit here on the final lap, guys, because I didn't want to just exceed track limit and get myself a penalty. But here we go. Into the final corner. It is going to be, what do they call it? The perfect weekend, like a triple crown weekend. Pole position, sprint race win, and freaking hell, winning the Grand Prix with fastest lap. Let's go!
Oh man, that's it! It's all over and you are the world champion! What a drive, what a season, well done!
And so the celebrations begin, and well-earned they are indeed. It might have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level at the very top is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Not just victory today then, but the championship as well. What a spectacular season they've had. Congratulations to the whole team. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Bring out the bottles! Dun 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 dun. Max Verstappen is finally no longer the world champion, and even though it's in a virtual world, it still feels damn good. Guys, we have taken the Drivers' World Championship. The Constructors is not yet sorted though. There's still a lot that can happen in the Constructors, but let's look at the standings after GETTR. Alonso with a brilliant performance coming in P4. He gets the 4th amount of points overall for the weekend. Perez and Russell trading blows, but Russell nipped Perez there with 6 points of total points scored. Hats off actually to Esteban Ocon and the Alpine scoring a point this weekend. It really was an Alpine's weekend. But there you guys can see, after this there's still 4 races to go. And 68 points for Red Bull. They can still breach that if they get some massive upgrades on the car. And me and Alonso have a few bad weekends. Red Bull are still in this Constructors' Championship, but look at that. Drivers' Championship trophy is Moaz. It is Moaz, and we are going to head into F124 with a little bit of a story arc. Trust me, you're going to love it. So, guys, that is literally... I can't believe, like, honestly, I knew heading in, like, at the start of this game, the first season Aston Martin, it was one of the fastest cars. There's a good chance that we can fight for the championship. But I didn't expect this. I didn't expect a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fastest lap streak. And currently, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of 12 podiums. 12 races raced so far, and 9 of them we've been on the podium. We had 2 P4s at the start of the season, and 1 very crappy P6. Other than that, we've been standing on the podium, either as the winner, or besides the winner, and it's honestly just been insane. This Aston Martin has been nothing but phenomenal, and I honestly think that with this car, if we could do 3, 4, 5 seasons and you could max out these cars, I honestly think this Aston Martin would have been an absolute killer at any track, but especially high downforce tracks. On low fuel, this Aston is probably one of the most planted cars on any F1 game that I've ever played. The only thing I'll put above this is my second and third season McLaren from F1 2019. It's the only car that I'll put above this car when it comes to the grip factor. But this Aston, it's been a joy to drive. It's been a joy to drive alongside my teammate Fernando Alonso. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. 4 more races to go. I think it's Mexico, Brazil, Abu Dhabi, and I can't remember the other track. But there's 4 tracks left. There's 4 tracks left, 2 of which have already been recorded. So just to give you guys an idea. But like I said, it's been so long ago, I can't remember exactly. And to come back with this video on the channel feels nothing but phenomenal. I loved every second of this, guys. You guys can see I'm not as excited as always. My energy levels are a bit down, and I need to get used to this again, like really being that hyper energetic guy that you guys love, and which is the reason why you guys mostly watch my videos. You guys like my content mostly for my personality, and thanks to your comments and certain YouTube analytics, that has been made clear. But again, guys, I mean, what more is there to say? There has been nothing but absolute awesomeness throughout this season so far. We've got the Drivers' World Championship. Can we finally achieve a Drivers' and Constructors' Championship win, I think for the first time in any F1 career mode? Is it possible? Mexico, Brazil, Abu Dhabi, and I know I can't remember the other circuit, and it was on screen like 2 minutes ago. The point being, there's still a lot that can happen. But me and Alonso are motivated. Let's see if we can take this proud British team in British Racing Green to a World Championship. But guys, that has been this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for staying till the end. You guys, honestly, the support with the live streams recently has been insane. You guys are amazing. I truly love you guys. Don't forget to drop a like down below. Go check out the links in the description down below, especially my new content channel on another social media platform. And if you are not yet subscribed, you are totally missing out. But we're going to do the old classic thing. If you have not yet subscribed, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to ding that bell to never miss a future video, short, or live stream here on Turbo Fox Racers. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers!